All right, we are live. All right, third show of the day. Today is Thursday, August 23rd. This is our Realtor Showcase show. It could be any show. When you've got Nadia Quintin here, let us know you can hear us or see us. It's super important. You may or may not know the story, but the story is I did an entire show once, and I didn't ask if you could hear us or see us, and they couldn't hear us. And you can't recapture the audio once you go live. So Lisa Lee, let us know you can hear us or see us. I think we got a thumbs up, but I always like to make sure, because you're gonna tell your story. It's so important to hear your story, and everybody wants to hear your story. John, let us know you can hear us or see us. And so I don't want anybody to miss out on it. So welcome to the show. I think we're good. Oh, see, there's John. He's got lots of hearts. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. Sometimes it can be sort of a challenge to get on the TED show, mainly because you don't know what you're getting yourself into. Thanks, Lisa. So welcome. Tell us a little bit about you.
Thank you so much for having me on here.
I'm blessed. I think it's amazing. I love your story, so I can't wait to hear it. I want you to share it with them. I can't wait.
I'm a huge fan of your show.
You're so kind.
I love the energy you bring, so I'm very honored to be here.
And I am honored and humbled to have you on here.
And so my story is that I am a metastasized cancer survivor, and what that means is that at the age of 23, I had a little tiny lump in my neck and didn't think much of it, got it checked out, and then it turned out to be a tumor. They said, you know, you're young, and so we're just going to take it out. And I went ahead and I remember saying to a friend, you know, if this is cancer, I'm going to be mad. Mind you, they said it was benign. But I went ahead and I said that, and then they did an MRI, it was 2. And they said it's no, you know, they're not benign. And then they did an ultrasound, and I asked, oh, so there's 2, right? And the tech said, you know what, there's 6, and she counted them in front of me.
Wow.
And then I ended up going to surgery to, you know, get it removed, and the doctor said, okay, we're removing half your thyroid and the 6 tumors, and I said, well, just take the whole thing. Why do I didn't really understand the full
That's a
vitalness.
fair question, right? Just get rid of it.
Yeah, I said, just take the whole thing. He said, no, we don't, it doesn't work that way. You know, we're not going to remove something unless it needs to be gone. And so they did the surgery. They removed 11 tumors, 8 of them were cancerous. My entire thyroid was cancerous.
So I'm fascinated and yet humbled by you. First of all, thank you for sharing that. And you have a lot of story to share. But medically, so you felt the one little bump, and then what that was telling you was that there was a lot more in your body. Did you have any other symptoms? Did you anything else? Hey, Ernie, we love you, Ernie Plaza. He's amazing. Did you have any other symptoms, any other physical ailments that would have led you to believe that it was more than just I don't know, I've got a cold? Because a lot of times what happens, if you are sick, your lymph glands, your lymph nodes get bigger, right? So you don't know the difference. So it led to 8 tumors?
Yeah. I actually, the first time I went to the doctor, that's what they said, you know, you're probably coming down with a cold. But then 3 months later, it was still there. And it wasn't huge. It was probably like a little bit bigger than a pearl. And then I just realized that whenever I ate like heavy carbs, I didn't feel well after. I had a little bit of hoarseness in my neck. But outside of that, there was no real huge symptoms. I had a lot of stress at that time. You know, it was more, I think. So one of the things about it is that experience really exposed to me my mental was very different before cancer and after.
So when you get the diagnosis, did you have anybody with you? And then what was that like? Because what you're saying is like, so you sort of don't expect it. You kind of know it's a possibility, but then the doctor actually says it to you. And where do you go?
Yeah, so my mother was with me. She's my rock. She was in the room when they said, you know, okay, you know, we're about 85% sure this is cancer. And, you know, at first of course I was upset. I couldn't believe that, you know, what I had said was actually now a reality.
And how old were you?
23.
All right, so listen, I don't even know how to deal with that now. So at 23, that is absolutely the furthest thing removed from any reality that you can believe is actually happening, I imagine.
Yeah, it was very surreal. I did cry on the way home.
Of course.
But at the same time, what's you know, it's, I mean, now to me it's funny to tell. But
I love that you can say that.
while I was getting told that, you know, they were pretty sure it was cancer, I got a phone call letting me know that my boyfriend at the time was cheating on me while I'm in the doctor, getting told this.
Okay, I did not know this part because that's obviously not in your bio.
Yeah.
So you're going through you finally get diagnosed and you're getting the news, and then you had a phone call while you're at the doctor that your boyfriend was cheating.
Yes.
All right, so you've got a lot going on at 23 in general, but in your mind, how do you then go, all right, what's my next step? How did you get to the place? You're here, so that's a blessing. But you've been through it, and that's what we like to talk about, the journey on the show. Like, you've been through this journey. But when you're first in that moment and you're already dealing with the cancer diagnosis, and then you get the crazy news about your boyfriend,
Yeah.
what's the next step? I mean, you've got your mom as support, but what do you do next? I think that's what people don't understand. Like, how do you take the next step forward?
So for me, and the reason why I say it's funny now is that situation added on to me getting diagnosed, I handled that. It was a little bit of a distraction. Me being so young, that was a little bit of a distraction, you know, and I cried on the way home.
Of course.
But after that, it was very much, you know, okay, what do I have to do, you know? So they were explaining the process. They said, you know, we're going to go ahead. At that point, you know, I didn't know how many tumors were really there. It was more like, you're going to have surgery. When we open you up, we're going to see what's there. So I really, when it's something that huge, there really is no set, this is what you do.
Of course, there's really no rule book, people. No rule book.
You really have to just tap into the family and the friends and support system that you have. I think I have a family that is very strong. So they were not ones to fall apart. They were not ones to say, oh my God, you know, you're, on the contrary, it was, we wait for the doctor, say the next step, we do the next thing.
Sure. So one step at a time is it sounds like how you dealt with it.
Yeah.
Because if you go out, I find that people, especially survivors, if you go outside of that, if you are so worried about 10 steps down the road, then you lose sight of what's going on here, and your focus is better here in the present.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes, and that's, you know, I think with big things like that and good things, if you have a dream, you want to accomplish it, or your world is falling apart, we all get 24 hours a day.
Agreed.
Every day. And you can't trick the world into getting more, and you can't trick the world into getting less. So you have to assess your 24 hours and really bunker down when you have something like that and say, okay, today, what can I do?
So tell me about how that looked. So so people out there, I have a lot of friends and a lot of viewers who are going through some kind of trial with cancer. And so tell them what that's like, because what I'm imagining is that it's not all pretty, even if you are the most positive human being on the planet. So did you have days where you're like, what the H, or whatever
Yes.
word you want, letter you
Yes.
want? And how do you handle that? How do you come back from that? Because it's super easy, no matter what you're going through in life, if it's cancer, if it's a bad relationship, a divorce, it's super easy to get sucked into the negativity. So what I want you to share is, I'm sure you went through it, share that with them, but tell them how you got out of that, how you made the next step and were able to kind of get past it.
So what I had to realize was I had a lot of time during, you know, treatment and recovery to think. And in times like that, you inevitably, you know, look within.
Sure.
And my personality, you know, was similar, but my mental was different. I was, you know, as you could hear from when I was telling the story, I was thinking the worst always. You know, I had a very fatalistic mindset, And when you get what you utter and get what you are thinking, and next thing you know, you're looking at its reality and you're wishing you could take it back.
So that's fascinating. So basically what you're saying is you spoke the negative words, you were thinking the negative thoughts, you were thinking the fatalistic, which is the worst case scenario, which, listen, that doesn't mean that she's weak. It means that that's what we all go through. I mean, how can you not have those thoughts at some point? I know it's not great for your treatment or your progress, but that's a natural human reaction to have.
Yeah.
And so you wish that you had not spoken those words. You wish that you had not had those thoughts. But so you had them, you owned them, and then what do you do next?
So once I realized, that the responsibility was with me in the way that I was thinking, I thought to myself, and ironically, I wanted a book for treatment while I would be isolated, and it was The Power of Positive Thinking by Napoleon Hill. So the clues were there, my KW fam knows that, success leaves clues, and that was one of them. I started to read that book and I started realizing, if I can manifest these bad things happening, I can manifest good things happening.
Correct. Say that again. If she can manifest bad things happening, you can also manifest good things happening. That she's not saying, and I'm speaking for you, and then you can give the kind of the wrap up on that. She's not saying that it's easy to do that, right? Because it's still difficult. You still have to speak through the negativity and the pain and the discomfort that you're dealing with, but you have to make a conscious choice to speak through it in a positive way.
Yeah, when you have nothing left, there's nothing that anyone can do for you. The only thing you have is basically faith and your mind. You're so in your mind during something like that. You're able to really make the decision to see things honestly. And when I saw what I could do with my words, with my thinking, I immediately started finding ways to just reverse that.
I love it.
I started, I would go into my scans and I would say, because the biggest one was the doctor checking up on me 3 days after surgery and telling me, what they found. And then I said, well, what are the chances of this spreading? And he said, oh, don't worry about it. It's less than 1%. And there was no need for me to think that or ask that. And sure enough, less than a month later, they did the scan and they checked it. I lit up like a Christmas tree. I had it spread to obviously my thyroid area, my clavicle, my lungs, my ribs, my hip, my femur. I also had an uptake in my stomach, my colon, and my salivary glands. So
when you get that news, so I'm stressed thinking about it. You get that news, and then how do you mentally prepare to go, all right, I'm going to fight this? Because right then and there, I'm already feeling stressed out, so I can't even imagine what you were going through. And thank God you had a support system that was there for you.
Yeah.
But it's still your journey to go on.
Yeah.
So how did you mentally deal with that? You get that diagnosis. There's 10 different places in your body that now have cancer in them or cancerous cells in them. And then how do you get to the next step and go, all right, well, that's what it is. We're still going to fight it.
Well, the situation was that they had given me the treatment and that's how they saw the uptake. So at that point it was, we gave you treatment. There's nothing we could do except wait a year. So
wow, so you had to wait?
I had to wait a year. So I had no choice but to, it was the kind of thing where it was no matter what, you have to wait a year. There's nothing that can be done.
So what do you do in the year? Did you change your diet? Did you change your lifestyle? Did you change what you did? Did you do a whole bunch of, we all want to be a WebMD, Google doctor. Did you Google everything? What did you change in your life during that year while you were waiting?
The biggest thing I did was through the reading, I really started seeking out anything that I could hold on to that was hope, faith, and motivation. I thought, okay, if I can fill my brain with those things, I will manifest good things. Because I couldn't do anything for the year except live,
Right. Right.
So I made the decision, I did ask, one time, when will I hear remission? And they said, let's just not focus on that word. And that was my answer. So I made the decision and said, I'm going to go to work. I'm going to do what, what's normal until it gets better. Because
Right.
that's all I could do. Sitting at home thinking about it was not going to lead me anywhere.
Right.
Falling apart, I was pretty sure would put me in a state to manifest even worse. So I just kept on living. When we got the news, my parents booked a flight for me to go see my family in El Salvador. And I saw them all, throughout that whole year. I did see coworkers, some family members and friends kind of look at me like, I was on my way out. I remember having a coworker say it was like a death sentence to be so young and have that.
Oh my God, who says that?
Well, she's,
You know what happens, I feel, and I think that's what I'm assuming that's what you're gonna say, is people don't know what to say.
Exactly.
So one of my biggest pet peeves is when we lose someone, I'm so sorry for your loss. Seriously, it's not like I have a hangnail.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to be more thoughtful in your approach to people. And so that person probably, God bless them, they had no idea how to respond, so that was what they said.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about where you're at now.
So I, just a few weeks ago, actually, when you contacted me about the show, I was in quarantine one more time because they